Hi, Bill.
Hey, Matt.
It's been so long since we've talked.
It's been so long that you seem to have forgotten how to introduce the show.
Oh, you want me to do that now?
I think you should probably do that. Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bullship with Bill and Matt. Sorry, I've really forgotten how to do the intro. This will be all of the supply chain information you don't need to know. I can guarantee it is not about any supply chain information you will want to.
So, for instance, we're not talking about tariffs today, Matt, right?
No, absolutely not. My life has been fully involved in tariffs, and I will not be discussing it. I've been advised not to talk about them.
Even though you've learned interesting new information about movie tariffs, which I really, really want to know about, but I'm
No,
not going to hear about that today, am I?
no, because quite honestly, no one knows about movie tariffs. There's so many questions going out right now. All that we know was the less than 100-word post on True Social. We want to do this thing. There's a lot of questions. Movies are complex things to make. Which part are you tariffing? So yeah, we don't know anything about that. We will not be talking about tariffs today. No more.
Is done with tariffs. Over it.
Hey, yes. But Bill, I do have something prepared, at least in my own mind, for this episode. But firstly, it's been several weeks since we've talked.
It has. I think let's first of all let's blame it on tariffs. The tariffs aren't entirely the reason for this, but I'd like to blame it on tariffs because I think it started when the tariffs kicked in and you were just completely underwater and said, Bill, I can't record right now.
Don't blame Liberation Day for the 3 to 4 week absence in our podcast recording schedule, Bill. The new national holiday.
I'm just trying to find a scapegoat here, Matt, because really, the problem is us, and probably mostly me. I basically took a vacation and didn't tell you that I was taking vacation until the day before.
It's fine, Bill. I'm not married to you. It's fine.
This is true. In principle, we try to get a podcast out every other week.
Yes.
And we had been doing pretty well until this hiccup. And clearly, there are still cobwebs. But this is what our listeners come to expect from us, I think, right? They're not coming to us expecting a Tim Ferriss show.
No, we are very underproduced. We are just two dudes chatting about things that are nerdy that we find relatively interesting.
Underproduce, underdeliver. I think that should be our motto.
That is exactly what we are going to provide. That will be the name of this episode for sure. But Bill, how are you doing? How is life up in the Northeast right now?
Life is good. It's finally green here, which just feels great.
You have actual seasons there.
We do have seasons here, yes. Not unlike where you in Texas, where you guys just have just heat all the time, is my assumption.
We definitely have summer. We have about 2 weeks of fall. Where I'm at in Dallas now, we have more weeks of actual winter, what you would refer to as winter. And we are in our springtime, which is monsoon season, for lack of a better term. It has rained here more days than I care to count, honestly. So my son, I can tell you this kind of factual thing. It's rained so often that my son, who is in T-ball, I'm a coach for his T-ball team, we have 3 games to play this week. So we normally schedule Saturday games, right? 1 game per week.
Yep.
We have already had 1 rainout game that we've had to play on a Thursday. Now we have 2 rainout games, one that has been rained out twice now. So we have a game Monday, Thursday, and Saturday this week.
So T-ball, how old is he now?
He is 6.
And you guys do because I have a 6-year-old playing baseball too, and when they get rained out, we're just like, well, we didn't play that game. Oh well, there's no double headers, there's no makeup games. It's just too bad we missed a game.
No. We are very serious. Baseball league is more serious. They have actual outs. There is a playoff game. There are stakes to this. Some of
This is probably why we in the Northeast don't produce so many professional athletes.
Yeah, we play in the city that we live in. We play in their league, and it is very close. It's very well done. They have spent a lot of money on the park the game park. There's like 6 or 7 fields, 2 of which are turf fields, full dugouts, like stadium style seating. It is a lot. And yeah, so when we played in Austin, I was like, okay, every inning, everyone on the team is gonna hit. Everyone's gonna like run the bases, and then the last kid to hit will hit a
Yeah.
grand slam. Everyone will run all the way around, right? Like
Yeah. We
this
do
is
that
how.
too. Yeah. Yeah.
Getting up here was like, oh no, 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 no. There are actual rules, and like you will abide by the rules. There is a ref on station. Like there are lots of things. Parents get really into it. We've actually had to kick parents out of the games because they've been too into the game. Yeah, it's a whole.
We're still talking about the 6-year-old, right?
Yes, we are talking about 6-year-olds here. Yes, and
Wow.
actually, it wasn't a like parent. It was a grandparent who got like removed. It was a lot, Bill. It was a lot of things. So
Wow.
yeah, they it's fun. It's great. Like it helps the kids kind of learn like things are important. But like there are specific rules. Like we play coach pitch by dint of like being the only human to say like sure I'll do this. I'll throw balls at kids. That's fine.
That was your first mistake, Matt, just to be clear. Like, I've been asked to coach many times, and I always say no because I have done it before. And hurting a bunch of 6 or 7-year-olds to get them to like play baseball, soccer, like, I don't care what it is. That is a miserable experience.
It's not terrible. It's a lot of fun. Have some of the children 6-year-olds again, mind you, 6-year-old children, have they been hit by a pitch? Yes. How many? 3, right? 3 kids have gotten hit by a pitch in the several games that I have been doing this.
A pitch that you
Yes,
threw, I
yes. I
presume. Yeah.
threw a
Okay. Yeah.
pitch at a and like
Yeah.
I am not a major league hitter,
I've hit my kids with pitches many times.
right?
This is
What's really great is when like they get hit by the pitch and it like startles them and like the ball bounces off them in a way that looks like they hit it, and both I and the like coach behind the catcher will both go like run. There's this tacit acknowledgement of like you're not gonna get a hit, just start running.
just keep the game moving. Yep. Yep. That's Yeah, I'm a terrible pitcher. So we actually just got a pitching machine over Christmas last year because I am such a bad pitcher. My 8-year-old loves baseball, and I just give me small too. Like they've got such a small strike zone. But
It's so hard to get the ball where it needs to be. Yes.
but at least with a 6-year-old, like you can really lob it. So you get very good at aiming for the bat and figuring out where the bat is going to be when they swing. But not very good. It's still a
Really
low
good as
probability. Yeah, it's still like these are baseball averages, right? This isn't like like basketball shooting percentages. This is
yeah.
200, 300 is a good day, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you do figure out how to find that bat because they're not going to find the ball very often.
It's the kids on the team are pretty good about thank you. The kids are actually pretty good about finding the ball wherever I've put it. They're pretty good about getting the bat to it, which is nice. They're decent at it, but like finding the right speed is really hard for them to like hit it, and then like the angle to get it to them is tough. We actually played a game like the coaches. There's a coach, like catcher's coach is the main coach for like our team, right? He's kind of the head coach. I'm an assistant coach at best, and he and I talk often about different things. One time we were like, "Wow, why are we playing so poorly against this team? We are better than they are. Like just objectively, like talent wise, our kids are better than their kids are." Again, I get too
Talking
into
about 6-year-olds. Talking about
I'm a
6-year-olds, right?
6-year-old
Okay.
playing
All right.
T-ball
Just gonna throw
here.
it in there again. Yep.
But we're like, man, why we should have more outs than we do. We have beaten this team before. And he and I were chatting. I was like, oh, it's because their coach, when he's pitching, he's like firing it in there. And those kids are just like, they're not coming anywhere close to hitting the balls he's throwing, right? He might have gotten maybe 3 hits, right? And in the 3 innings that we played, he may got 3 hits, right? Where I'm like actively trying to get it to the kids at a speed and an angle that they can hit the ball, right? And so I had maybe 15, 16 hits in that time, right?
In your league?
No.
Okay.
Here we go to the like deep strategy of 6-year-old T-ball is that
Dear listener, I promise we're going to talk about supply chain at some point today.
We will talk about supply chain. We need to get through this first. This is important. So if a kid, I think a kid gets 3 or 4 pitches. If they don't make contact in those four, then they go to the tee and they hit off the tee, right?
Yeah, we do that too. Yeah.
If they do make contact in one of the four, then they get an extra one. If they miss that one, then like off it goes, right? So like let's say they hit it, it's foul. As long
Yeah.
as the like bat has touched the ball, they get an extra pitch. They get 5. So again, like this guy's like bam, 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 and like on the tee. And obviously the kids are gonna hit better off of the tee than they would
Mm,
off
yeah.
of a pitch, right? And so this is where we're like, and they're like lobbing these into the outfield. And I was like,
So
oh, it's
he's just working the pitch count to get to the
there you
tee.
go. There you go. That's
That's your
exactly what it is.
strategy.
Yes.
That's your coach pitch strategy. All
Now,
right.
now, will I adopt that strategy and start firing heaters at the kids in the playoffs? Yes, 100%. Because I want to win playoffs. Because the kids nowadays, you and I grew up probably around the same time. You got a trophy, right? For when you played T-ball or something like that.
If you won, I don't think we got trophies for losing it back then. I could be mistaken. It's a long, yeah.
I got
Did you get trophies for losing?
I got trophies for like just like you played the sport. Here's your little
Yeah.
trophy, right? Kids get rings these days. They get like a championship ring, and it's big.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Like, so last season, and the reason why I know that our team is good is because last season we actually got like second place in the league, right? So we got the like second place championship ring, and then we returned all of our. God, I'm gonna sound so terrible. We returned all of our starters this year, so we're expected to be good in the league. And the team that we lost to in the finals moved up a year, so like I think we're like U6, and they moved up to like the next step because they had kids that were too old. Yeah, so it was like wow, I know that we're good. We are a good team, but like we're just not playing well. I'm like, oh, this is like super deep strategy.
Well, in 15 years, we're going to have to compare our kids because it seems to me that you guys are much more intense and much more likely to produce an MLB player than we are.
Now, let me tell you again another story. We will talk about the supply chain at some point. We gotta catch up. It's been a long time since we've recorded.
We're 14 minutes into this thing, Matt. Just a heads. I want to hear your story. I'm not trying to cut you off, but I just want to call out that our banter is usually done about 10 minutes ago.
We're almost done. We'll get to the ad read, and then we'll talk about supply chain. Son, he was trying out for the All-Star team, right? Again, because like this is it. So there's like 32 kids from the like 6 and under league that are trying out for this all-star team for like maybe 12 spots, maybe. And my son, like at the very end of the tryout, which is an hour long, started at 6, went to 7. If you have a 6-year-old, you know like 6 to 7 is a tough time for them. So he's bored and tired and like exhausted from the day. He at the very end they were scrimmaging. He made his way to third base, right? Got a hit, got on base, went to third base, and proceeded to like full on both legs kneel on third base, right? Just like I couldn't be in a worse position to run from third to home. And I was on the first base side, just looking at him like, do I yell at him to stand up or do I just let it happen? Because I know he's gonna get out if he just keeps doing this. And I was like, no, he either succeeds or fails on his own volition. Me yelling at him is one gonna alert the coaches who are evaluating him. Oh, he's leaning down, he's like laying down. And like this is not gonna be good. So sure enough, the kid at bat gets a hit. My son, like in his wandering vision, goes like, there's a hit. I need to like stand up and run. He stands up, starts running towards home. The infielder fielded the ball, tagged him out at home. It's like great. Everything I expected to happen happened exactly as I expected it to happen. It's great. There you go, Bill.
Good story.
Bill, now that we're like super far into this episode, do you want to read our advertisement?
I guess I feel like it's misplaced now. I feel like we should be like talking about Cooperstown or something like that. But this is more of an MLB
No.
show than a supply chain show. But yeah, let's talk about our sponsor Parabola, the
Parabola.
spreadsheet alternative. Yes, we love them. We've talked about them many times. And I say this all the time. I almost never use Excel anymore. I am tired of the old manual spreadsheets and just the constant pushing buttons and copy paste this and that and fill all these formulas and the mistakes and like the overwriting and losing files and everything and making files that are too big to fail, right? That you open them up and they take 10 minutes and they crash and everybody's breathing down your neck like, I need my data. So with Parabola, you can just bypass all of that. It's this great online platform for automating your data work. It's all drag and drop interface. You bring your data in through one tool, you drag and drop some other tools, filter, write some formulas, change the names of columns, like everything. You can do everything in there. And it's great. And they've added a really cool new feature. So like I said, like it's this drag and drop interface and you're dragging and dropping your various tools to do different data steps. But sometimes you come into a situation where you want to do something to the data and they don't have the tool for it. So what do? You bring in the custom transform tool, which is super cool. It is just basically a tool with like an AI, just like a chat GTP interface. And you say, hey, bot, I want you to do this to my data. And you give it a few examples and it does it. And it makes complicated transformations super easy. They had this really cool contest for all their operators to kind of like take it for a spin. And these guys did some really, really cool stuff with it. They're like doing complicated ERP automated reconciliations that forecast versus actual comparisons, transaction timestamp normalization. I don't even know what that means, but they were doing, these people from various companies, real operators, doing some really cool transformations on their data, stuff that they would have otherwise needed actual engineering resources to do. So super cool tool, saves a ton of time. I use it all the time. And with Parabola, there's just no excuse for mucking around in spreadsheets anymore. I don't know why you do. I know you do.
I do it out of love, Bill. That's why.
Yeah.
I love that speaking of love, I love that you're talking about, I've talked about deep strategy for 6-year-old T-ball, and you have talked about deep strategy for like businesses. It's great. It's great. You're going to get viewers, listeners, you're going to get a little bit of everything here on this podcast.
But mostly T-ball, yes. But we're easing back into things after a few weeks off.
Thank you. Yeah. So thank you, Parabola. Thank you, Bill, for that wonderful shout out to them. So, Bill, since it's been so long, there might be a term that, to get into like the actual meat of this conversation and this podcast, where we will start, I honestly will say we will talk about supply chain now. What would you say, after so many weeks off, would you say we are a little
rusty?
A little rusty. That's right. We need to talk about, today's podcast will be talking about one of the most insidious and nigh insurmountable disasters facing potentially the entire world's like global supply chain. And that
Tell me, where is this going?
That is rust. Bill.
Rust.
The oxidization of metal. Right.
We're going to talk about rust today. Okay, rust in supply chain.
Yes, it is.
Strap yourselves in, folks.
Insidious. It is the like creeping death of the supply chain, right? I am not being hyperbolic here. It is like such a problem, right? So a lot of the things, I'm going to preface this by saying, I went to Portland several years ago now, pre-pandemic, went to the giant bookstore there. I forget its name. I happened upon this book called literally Rust. I was like, sure, let me read this. The cover was cool. I judged it by its cover. It was a great book, where this author was talking specifically about the various like issues with rust in the world. Now, when you pick up an aluminum can of Coke or something else, whatever your beverage of choice is, do you ever think about those cans rusting?
No, that has never occurred to me.
Technological marvel. Like, on the scale of like one of potentially the greatest wonders of the like modern world is that cans don't rust, because we're putting, to some extent, like close to battery acid into those cans, right? The manufacturers who make them is a company called Ball, makes most of the aluminum cans in the US or the globe. They have like such a small error rate of cans actually rusting that it is safe to say it never happens. Their cans do not rust.
That's impressive. Like that.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah, because like if you ingest rust, right? Fe is the like scientific symbol for it. It can cause like problems in your body. Like it's bad for you, but you never think of it as a thing
Nope.
because they have so precisely manufactured aluminum cans. So this book tells the story of them. Tells a few other stories. It tells a story about this guy who is a pipeline engineer in Alaska, and the rust that can form inside of those pipelines as oil is moving through it. If there is rust on the inside, one, they have a hard time knowing when things are rusty without it like exposing onto the surface. And when we were talking about the Trans-Alaskan pipeline, there's hundreds of miles of pipeline that they have to like check for corrosion. The way that they apparently do it is they run like 6 different pigs, not a live pig. They run these like cleaning pigs through their pipeline.
Literally a pig.
No, not a
Okay.
the name
Okay,
for the
so, yeah,
pig
so
is
yeah, let's clarify this. Because you said not a live, pig, and I pictured them like just pumping a dead pig through these pipes, which is comical, but also like didn't make a lot of sense. So okay,
you don't come from an oil and gas state to pigs are like it's a commonplace occurrence. So a pig is like a hard thing. Sorry, a pig is anything that runs through an oil pipeline, right? That's what a pig is called. They are typically either silicone or rubber, and they're designed to like fill up the void space inside of a pipe and effectively like clean it, right? Like kind of like think of a squeegee, but on the full circumference of that pipe, right? They are called a pig because it squeals like a pig when it's going.
there it is. Thank you.
There you go. So they'll put like 6 of those dumb pigs through the pipe to clean it, and then they'll put, I swear I'm telling you this is like legit thing. They put a smart pig down it that has these like bristles, these tendrils on it that check the pipe every like I don't know like what the distance is, but they're effectively checking the entire surface of this pipe, and it's transmitting the information back to like a server, and that's how they're able to know on this hundreds of links of pipe where there might be corrosion on the inside of the pipe that they might need to replace. Fascinating book.
That is also amazing. Yes, this is great. I'm so glad we took 15 minutes to talk about T-ball to get to this actually interesting thing.
But the most insidious thing is that like, so again, the one of the great resources of the book is that there's this guy who's within the Department of Defense who cares so much about rust affecting the nation's like security, because it does. It's this massively insidious force. Like, you've never been in the military, Bill, but I can assume that you think that there's probably a lot of like metal that is used to keep this nation secure, right? Trucks and boats and planes, all of which require metal. Guns require metal. So this one guy in the entirety of the DoD, which is a very large organization, is effectively saying like, hey, Congress, if you give me like 1/10 of the budget for new stuff, I can keep your existing things up and running, right? Because we don't care enough about maintenance in this country, and we should care more about it. And so this one guy is like leading the charge. He apparently went so far as to like cast LeVar Burton into this like film series about corrosion control for the military, and it's like this government produced film. It is astounding. Highly recommend this book.
I love the image of LeVar Burton in this, because like thinking back to Star Trek, like nothing ever rests in Star Trek, right? They have rust figured out in Star Trek.
Now, apparently this guy is a huge Star Trek geek, and loved LeVar Burton and got like enough budget to cast him in this role. It was very like wish fulfillment for him. But yeah, it's
Love LeVar Burton too. I mean, I grew up watching Reading Rainbow.
who didn't love LeVar Burton. He was wonderful.
Roots. Yeah, he's fantastic. That's great.
There you go. Rust. A thing you don't think about it often enough, but it can like heavily corrode stuff and make them inoperable. Right? When the Marine Corps, we would transport trucks on boats, right? And like salt corrosion is massive, massive
Oh,
problem.
I'll bet. Yeah. Yep. It's funny you say that because I grew up on the water,
Yes.
and when you started talking about rusting aluminum cans, I was thinking like, have I ever seen a rusted aluminum can? And I'm sure I have, but the only way I can picture it is if it's washed up on shore and
Yep.
very old.
Yep. Yep. There you go. So that's my topic for today, Bill, was talking about rust. It's fascinating and people don't give it enough like time or
So what does
thought.
this guy want to do to in terms of maintenance? Is it because I know like it has to do with oxidation. I can remember actually having like this is going back to like high school chemistry, I think. But if you take like a piece of zinc, right, like and stick it in what water with some other metal, it prevents the other metal from corroding or something like that. You're nodding, so you probably know way more about this than I do. But yeah, so what is he talking about doing?
So what you're referring to is basically that is a very old solution to the problem of rusting metal hulls on ships. Is that you would put you I think I forget I botched the scientific terms, but I'll say them together. You take a cathode and you put it on an iode, and the cathode is kind of the sacrificial part. It will corrode before the rest of the iode corrodes. And I might have those switched. But basically you're taking a sacrificial metal that can give ions to something else, to another piece of metal, so that the other one doesn't rust. That was super old. I think the British actually came up with that idea. A very famous scientist, I'm sure, found that out. But the other way to keep, you could do that, you could coat metal in a layer of zinc, which is called galvanization, which is why like metal poles and stuff don't corrode because zinc doesn't corrode.
It's why you buy galvanized screws and nails when
There
you're
you go.
building outdoors. Yep.
Yep. And that metal has been dipped into liquid zinc, and that's why it doesn't, there's just a small amount on the outside that doesn't corrode. The other way to do it, right, because galvanizing, right, like military vehicles, paint doesn't stick to galvanized metal, at least it doesn't stick well, and you kind of want military trucks to be somewhat painted. The other way you do it is that you paint stuff, right? You remove the ability for oxygen to get to the metal by painting it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so any kind of like chips in paint requires, it is a necessity to like get your trucks painted
So
often.
then what he's saying is rather than buy a new truck, pay me to repaint the trucks,
Yeah. Well, he's
for
not
example.
not the one
Yeah.
getting
Well.
like
Yeah.
give
Right.
me the budget for the
Give
paint
you the
so that
budget
we
for it.
can keep
Yes.
stuff running. Yeah. 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 There
Nice.
you go. Yeah.
This harkens back also to one of our earlier, very early supply chain chatters about the penny. Do you remember this?
Oh yes.
The modern penny is not made of copper. It is made of copper coated zinc,
Ah,
which is a uniquely corrosive combination, it turns out. So as soon as those pennies get scratched, the copper just completely corrodes.
fun.
That doesn't have to do with supply chain. You just reminded me of it. But
So there you go. Yeah. So these are things that like there are human beings that care about rust and the stuff that like basically everything that's moving stuff in the supply chain is metal and probably is corroding at some point in time. But yeah, there you go. Paint your ships, paint your trucks.
that's great. A whole half hour, and we barely talked about tariffs.
You stop talking about them, Bill.
I said the word again.
Anything else that you want to talk about today?
We're at a half hour already. We'll no, you know what? Actually, I do have one quick thing because
Go
speaking
for it.
of speaking of old supply chain chatters, you recall the $6 million banana that we talked about a while back?
Yes.
Yes. Well,
Yes.
I have a follow up to that because there is now a $72,000 Cheeto. Did you hear about this one?
What's the tariff on a cheetah?
I I don't know. This came out. I found out about this before. Actually, no, it's not before the tariffs. But I don't know.
See.
I think it was already domestic. So let's set aside the tariff question
Sure.
of it. This Cheeto is in the shape of Charizard, the
I've seen
Pokemon.
this.
Yep,
Yes.
yep. And so there's this fun little article about it, and the chain of custody on this thing is pretty wild. It's. I mean, this guy here. Where I got it? Here we go. Um, in 2019, a guy who runs this collector's shop of just
Sure. Yeah.
collectibles bought
Yeah.
it off of eBay for 350, stuck it away in a little container for 4 years. Which, by the way, 4 years and this Cheeto is still in peak condition. Like that's
Preservatives.
I don't know. I don't know if you're a Cheeto fan. I do not love them, and think this is good reason for not consuming them. That thing was still in mint condition in 2023 when he dug it out of his safe. Got a friend to build a special protective container for it. Um, Brought it to a collectibles conference where he sold it to a trading card marketplace for 10 grand. That trading card marketplace then put it into a mystery prize box that they were selling out for 250. They knew what they were doing, it seems, because then when someone bought that thing and found it, that trading card marketplace then helped them to auction it off for $72,000 plus a whole bunch of fees. I think the total transaction was closer to 90.
I
Yeah, this is not really related to supply chain. We can talk about chain of custody and supply and demand if we want, but really is just like a great follow on to that $6 million banana.
Bill, we will have to devote an entire episode to that $72,000 chart. I have so many thoughts and so many comments in like the business supply chain world that deserves its own episode. That's fantastic.
Okay, well, dear listener, expect more on Cheetozard is what it's called.
Yes, I've seen
Cheetozard.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. God bless. Well done, everyone. That story. Yeah, 72,000. I could use $72,000. That'd be great. I'm not spending it on a Cheeto.
No, I don't know why baffling that anybody would, but someone did. Someone bought a banana for $6 million.
Sure. So people got more money than sense. Not you or I, and not our friends at Parabola.
We have very little of both. I would say the same of you.
All right, Bill. Thanks so much for today. It's fun breaking the rust with you.
Great bullshipping with you as always, Matt.
Bye, everyone.